Hey friends, welcome to 1 Minute with Monée. Balance doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen one intentional minute at a time. This podcast gives you the tools to make it happen. I'm your host, Monée, your favorite concierge and founder of Time Managed LLC. Join me each week for practical tips and real examples to help you manage your lifestyle with ease. Hello and welcome to the next episode of 1 Minute with Monée. I am pleased to announce our next feature for Women's History Month, and that is Ceandra James. She is the owner of the Candie Factory out of Alabama. Welcome, Ceandra. How are you?
I am doing well, Miss Monée. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. I am doing well. I'm happy to have you. And I'm happy to get a chance to talk to you a little bit more and learn about your business. Your desserts look amazing. I've seen
Thank
your,
you.
your website, follow you
Thank
on
you.
Instagram, and I can't wait to get the opportunity to taste your treats. How did you come up with the Candie Factory?
The Candie Factory actually is the rebrand from a company that my mom started back in 2008 called Independent Candies. Pretzels and snacks. Like, I know that's a long name, but that literally was the name. The name Andy Pandy is my childhood nickname. If you are someone who knows me and you know me by Andy, that tells me how far back we go and how long you have known me. And so the year that my mom started her business, well, my favorite uncle too. So it was her favorite uncle and mine. He passed away that year. And we could not come up with a name for it. And I said, well, we might as well just call it Independent Candies. And she said, I think that's going to be the name. And
Mhm.
that kind of was it. And so from there, throughout the years, of course, working with my mom and kind of always, joke when people say, how did you get into it? I said I was voluntold because my mom, if you're a kid of a parent that owns a business, honey, you finna be labor, whether you want to or
Yes,
not. And that's
exactly.
actually how it started. I was in college and I was helping her, and I can remember telling her, oh, I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. Let me hurry up and get this degree so I don't have to work in this bakery. I'm not going to be doing this. I don't want to cook for people. And lo and behold, that's what I do for a
Okay.
living. So, long story short, my mom transitioned out of the business. She went through a sickness back in 2014 where she temporarily went blind,
Mm,
and she closed down for a moment. And then she wanted to start it back up, but just never had the time to do that. She, shortly after was driving trucks and things of that nature and fell in love with that. And then I had this epiphany in 2020, actually. I wanted to open it back up. We already had all the equipment in storage, and I said, I'm going to do it myself. And I didn't do it in 2020 because it was COVID. But
right.
2021 came around, and I opened up in the Gadsden Mall, still under the same name. It wasn't until this year, 2020, well, last year, not this year, 2025, when I rebranded, and, the Candie Factory Bakery and Brew House was born from that. But Candy is still me. As I said, Andy is one part of my life, but Candy is another part of my life. So some of my friends in college know me as Candy. So Candy is still me.
Okay.
And so that is how we started, and we've just been rocking and rolling it.
Well, that sounds great. Now, as when you grew up, did your mom have you in the kitchen at home, or was she only having you come into the shop to work there?
Oh no, at home too. That was, I think the first thing I can remember cooking, I think I was 6. She
Okay.
had me cooking pinto beans. So she had me, honey, sorting out those pinto beans, learning how to
Mhm.
soak them, and, make sure they was clean, and then she had me cook them. Now, she had me cooking them in the crock pot, of course, because she didn't want me using
Mhm.
the stove, but she actually had me cooking them down in the crock pot, telling me how to season it and what to put in it and how to watch it, turn it down. Actually, that was it, and it's just like from there, my aunts, my grandmother, if you were in the house, we gathered around the kitchen, and that was where the conversations started. Now, sometimes, in that era, that's when they would make the kids leave the room if the topics got too, grown.
Right,
And
right.
yeah, a lot of people, I don't know if they still do that, but we were made to leave the room. We couldn't be in the room, but typically we were in the kitchen snapping peas, watching, being baked and cookies being baked, and just learning. And that's where the conversation started, and the love of cooking actually started, for me.
Mhm.
So just being with my family and having that time. So, but yeah, she had me at 6. That was my first thing cooking pinto
Okay.
beans.
I can't remember the first time that I was in the kitchen with my mom, but like yours, I was in there with with my mother, grandmother, and even sometimes my dad teaching me
Yeah.
how to cook. It was a chore back then. It wasn't something like, "Hey, can
Yes,
I from you?" It was more so like, "Get in here and help me clean these greens."
exactly.
And but I think what I appreciate now as a mom and an adult is, those memories that we create with our elders,
Absolutely.
and we're able to pass down some of those recipes to our children. And again, our children don't like to be in the kitchen. It's a chore. But I have a son, and I am determined to make sure that he leaves this house and learns how to cook something. And he knows what it means to
Absolutely.
help, his partner in the kitchen. So I tell him, like, listen,
Absolutely.
you want a good catch. You got to be a good catch. So
Oh,
cook
I
it.
like that. I like that. Yes, you doing well. 'Cause a lot of men can't cook. They're just looking for
I,
you to do it. I'm like,
they are. They are. And I mean, I hope it sticks. And he's doesn't necessarily have to be a master chef, but at least learn how to help in the kitchen, learn how
yes,
to make your way around the kitchen, and if you're
absolutely.
hungry, you gotta eat.
You
At
got to eat.
minimum, feed yourself, even if it doesn't
Exactly.
have to do with being in a relationship or having a partnership. You need to learn how to cook so you can eat.
Absolutely.
So
You don't know
I
how many
do.
young men go off to college or ladies in this day and age go off to college
Yes,
and
ladies
really don't know
too.
how to do anything but just cook noodles and eat hot dogs. That's it. So that's a life skill that still needs to be, in the forefront. I do believe. So yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, do your children today help you in your shop? I don't know how old your children are and how many you have. So
So
tell
my
us.
daughter my daughter is 22, and she actually went to culinary art school. She will help if you ask her, but other than that, she don't want to. She'll
Okay.
run the register and she'll clean, but she doesn't like to cook as much, and that's so weird to me. I'm like, "Why did you go into culinary arts?" And it's funny now, but I'm like, "You wasted your time." But other than that, she was like because it was the shortest train that I could take and her and get out of there. And I'm like, Lord
Right,
have
right.
mercy. And so now she's back in college now. She wants to go into veterinary science, but she's actually finishing up in cosmetology. And so she can cook, but she don't want to. And my son, unfortunately, Jaden passed away last February. So we're coming up on his anniversary on Valentine's Day. And Jaden couldn't boil water. So let's
Okay.
just we as women in this family, whether it be my aunts, my mom, me, my daughter, we kind of waited on him hand and foot, and he did not have to do anything. So he probably was not going to be that good catch to help in the kitchen. I can remember the first time Jaden asked me to get up. It was about 5 something in the morning. He wanted some
Uh-huh.
pancakes, and he asked me to get up, and I was like, "No, that's your sister." She said, "No." He was like, "Well, I just do it myself." And we hear the smoke alarm going off, and it's smoky in the kitchen, and my daughter came in the room. She said, "Mama, your son is stupid." I said, "What is he doing?" So I get up, and the boy is in there making pancakes, but he did not know. He didn't even read it. He did not know you add water to the pancake mix. He just put the powder in the pan and
No
was cooking
way.
pancakes. And so really from that day forward, we would not let him cook anything. So we kind of all just cooked for him. And he did not learn how to cook. He was probably about 12 or 13
Okay.
at that time. So we'll give him a little grace with that. But from
Mm.
that, we never let him cook. So he did not know how to cook because we did it for him.
He might have done that on purpose. He was like, "If I mess this up, I won't have to come back in this kitchen again."
And I think he did that, yeah, on purpose because he did not. He would make a sandwich, and that's about as far as I would let him. I would tell him, "Do not operate my stove at all while I'm not here." He can use the microwave, but nothing else,
But not the stove.
but not the
I
stove.
understand. Yeah, we don't want the babies to burn down the houses. But my condolences to you and your family for the loss of your son.
Thank you.
How did
Thank
that
you.
impact your business? That had to be a difficult time for you.
That, it almost came to a point where I did not want to even operate my business. I questioned my purpose and things in life, as far as, the enemy would like to come in and, of course, play the devil's advocate and just, you should have spent more time with your kids. You were trying to build this brand. You were trying to do this and you shoulda, coulda, woulda. And actually, that is what has given me my purpose. My son was one of my biggest cheerleaders because my daughter had already moved out. My son was still here with me. Any recipes that I had, he would be my taste tester. And a lot of the things that's on my menu is from him, either being on TikTok or something to say, "Hey, mom, I think you need to try this. It's a viral thing and put it on your menu, but put your own flair and your spin on it and things like that." And, he trying to say, "Yep, that's it." Or "No, I don't like that. Take that off."
So,
And it was one of those things. We just acquired our new storefront, downtown Gaston, which is oddly, one of the first places that we looked in 2008 when my mom wanted to put her business and was not able to secure a business. And I can remember driving in the car with my son and telling him, I'm going to have a business on Broad Street. You just wait and see. And there's one particular day, I said it once too many times, and he was just like, Mama, you do not have to say that every time we pass by here. It will happen. It will come to pass. And when the building came available in July, it was like I didn't think about it. I didn't hesitate. I literally went and looked at the building and said, this is it. And I'm an analytical thinker, an overthinker, everything you can think of. I literally went to work that day, put in my
Yeah.
2 weeks notice and said, you know what, I'm going to open up full time instead of just part time and on the weekends. And so I just hit the ground running. And
Okay.
everything do, I still do with my babies and my son and my daughter. And,
Mhm.
when I got the building, I said, son, I told you that I was gonna do it, and you gave me encouragement, and you said it would happen one day, and I said,
Yeah.
"Here we are, we finally made it." And so it has given me a lot of purpose to keep going. Some days you just don't wanna get out of bed, but each day that God gives me breath in my body, I will keep going and keep fighting and keep, just running this race and just living life, and that's it.
Yeah, you have to, you have to, and that's a
Yeah.
beautiful story, and one of the things that I thought of as you were telling is that you stepped out on faith, and
Yes.
sometimes it takes a nudge, whether it's from a family member or from a friend or mentor, to just take that leap of faith to go to the next
Absolutely.
step. Are there
Absolutely.
any challenges as a woman-owned business that you had also to continue to have that faith to keep going and to, step out there and
Yes.
make it happen?
That is the only thing most days people say, "Girl, I don't know how you make it. I don't know how you're still showing up authentically as yourself with a smile on your face." And I can tell people wholeheartedly it is nothing but the goodness of God and his grace and mercy. Just knowing that he has not failed me because he cannot fail. He can do anything but fail. And so, even though, as a parent, your biggest wish is always to have your children, here for a long time and to see your grandchildren and them grow old. And, God had other plans. I just thank him for 22 years that I had with my son. And so I'm just grateful and everything. And so I just, think that me being able to get up and do what I love to do every day, this is my peace for me. And I tell people I actually cook to cope. This is my therapy. And so I can just get in the kitchen, I can create, I can sing, I can hum, I can pray, I can have a breakdown if I need to. And so my kitchen is my sanctuary for me.
Yes, nice, very nice. Now, for those who are listening who may want to start a business, can you give them a story of when you may have doubted yourself, but you pushed through to, again, try something new or to keep going forward with your plan and not looking back, even though you may have had those doubts?
Goodness. For anybody wanting to start a business, I would first say you need to be a person that is very persistent, but you have to be consistent. Consistency and determination, dedication is really the dedication because there's some days when nobody's going to show up for you, but you think that the clients you're going to have clientele, whether that be family, friends, church members, sometimes that might not even be your biggest clientele. It might be a total stranger. But
Mhm.
just showing up every day, giving it all you got, 110%. You can even give 100, have to give 110%. But even if it does not work the way you think, I tell people you don't panic, you just pivot and you just learn how to do that because anybody can start a business and a lot of people do, but staying the test of time and staying consistent and staying with it is what builds your character because honey, there are some days you just want to say, you know what, I don't want to do this no more. Let me just go get a 9 to 5. At least I know I have a paycheck coming in. So just
That's
showing
me.
up. Look, just showing up for yourself and just
Yeah.
believing in you and just, when it looks like you can't do anything else, I tell people just look up and you pray
Yeah.
and you just keep your faith because he did not bring you this far to leave you. And so I literally have to go back to the word on everything that I do. And
Mhm.
that's the only way that I think I am able to do what I do. Other than that, I would probably take my eyes. I tell people I have those Peter moments where you take your eyes off Jesus and I start to sink and then I have to get my eyes fixed back on him. So that is pretty much it. But just, of course, do what you love to do. And, everybody says, well, find your niche. And some people have more than one. And my thing was wanting to combine everything into one, having so many
Mhm.
moving parts. But having a strong foundation literally is the key in being structured correctly. And so for me, And that would be my advice to anybody. Be consistent, be determined, be persistent. But at the end of the day, just make sure you stay the course and that's it. Because if you stop and quit, you never know where you could have taken it and you never know where it would have gone. And that's kind of the method to the madness, I always say. I tell
Mhm.
people just, you see me now, this is the beginning, but what you don't see is what I've already envisioned for the end result. And so
Mhm.
that is what I keep striving for. So it's a
Yeah.
journey.
Yes, absolutely. So what was that process for you to really hone in on your niche? And I know we sometimes have a lot of ideas, especially if you are
Mhm.
ambitious and just creative and you want to
Yes.
do everything because you can, we're
Yes,
talented,
absolutely.
multifaceted, right? Multifaceted. We call us
Yes.
multi-hyphenate
You know
entrepreneurs.
what?
And so what is that process like to to really hone in on what you should do and focus on that?
So for me, as ladies, we wear many hats. And as a mom, as a, you know, then wife, business owner, running, companies for other people, in sales, customer service, it came back to what did I do well without even thinking. And, even though, yes, I can do hair, yes, I actually took an apprenticeship and did nails for a while. I used to make body skincare because I love that. My kids had eczema and it was kind of, it was not a lot that I could use on their skin. So it's like, well, we're going to become a chemist and we're going to get in here. We're going to get some shea butter. We're going to get some goat's milk and we're just going to do it ourselves and we're just going to make it at home. And so that became, well, I can make it for my kids. I can sell it for everybody else. But with the bakery, it was like going back to really something I love. I'm a foodie. I love food. And it was something that, it came natural for me. It's like, I don't know how I'm going to make it, but I know I can bake some cookies. And that literally was it for me. In 2023, I was working for a government contractor and I lost my job. And so this is where you're pushed into purpose. And I lost my job and I did not know what I was going to do. And from my mom previously having the business, and then with me opening up in 2021, I actually still had all of my equipment and it was just in storage. We're just paying for storage.
Mhm.
And I went back to work working a 9 to 5 and I literally just worked on the weekend. But then when I lost my job in 2023, it was like, okay, what you got, what you know how to do.
Mhm.
And literally, I just started, pop-up shops and flea markets selling cookies and cakes and brownies and did very well. And it was like, okay, I think I want to have a food truck. So I took literally my 401k from my job and I bought a food truck.
Wow.
People was like, are you serious? I'm like, look, I always wanted a food truck. I don't want to think about it too long. I'm just going to do it. And
Yeah.
that's it. That's it. What's the worst that could happen? Either I do extremely well and blow up or I lose it. A long story short, how life will life. And I tell people, went through a divorce and lost it, and just had to regroup. And I'm like, okay, that's okay. It was a lesson learned and a curveball.
So as you're going through, these life changes and also trying to move forward with your business, were there mistakes that you made along the way? And how did you overcome some of those mistakes?
Oh goodness, absolutely. But I tell you, life is the biggest teacher for you.
Mhm.
But the mistakes actually are what made me grow. So
Mhm.
my biggest mistake, well, my two biggest ones I always say was not having a mentor. Yes, I can always go and talk to my mom, but actually not having a mentor was my biggest thing. I got one later in life. I didn't have
Mhm.
one when I first started. So for me, that would be my number one thing that I wished I would have done because so many people have been where you're trying to go. And I don't want to have to keep spinning my wheels and reinvent the wheel when it's already been done. You just have to learn how to perfect it and make it your own. And so that was my number one. My number two was thinking that I can do everything on my own myself. This one woman band, I don't need anybody. I can do it. I don't want any balls dropped. So if I don't want any balls dropped, I need to just do it myself.
Mhm.
But that, caused me to become overwhelmed at times and just, all over the place. And so I had to learn to, lean on my community. And there were so many people that, hey, Ceandra, we want to help you. And I'm, sometimes would question, why do you want to help me? Are you really here to help me? And it was just like, girl, let them people help you. And so now If anybody say, hey, I'm gonna take you up on your word. I have a catering event coming up this Saturday. Can you be there at 6 o'clock? I don't go past, go and collect my $200. I start right then and there and say, yes, I have something coming up and I gladly appreciate you and thank you so much for your help. So building an effective and strong team and leaning on your team and actually being able to delegate things out, not having to be the person to do everything yourself. Because my daughter said, you're a perfectionist. I don't think I am, but that's what she said. But and just learning to trust people with your vision and know that there are, people out there who really do want to see you succeed and make it more so than those that don't. And so it's all about your mindset and how you think about it. And so if you think that no one is going to help you and nobody wants to help you, maybe that's what you will attract and what you will get. But I had to change my mindset. Everybody that God is going to put in my path is going to be somebody here to help me. And
Mhm.
lo and behold, it has been. I have had so many friends or, ex co-workers that used to work with me say, girl, we said we were going to help you back when. Well, come on, you can show on up right now. I need you. And
Yeah.
so it has been great. It really has. So those were my two things for me.
Okay, awesome. I can relate to that. So I just recently started hiring more people on my team. In my business, I've gone through phases, and
Mm,
one of the things I have to constantly remind myself of is that for my clients, I encourage them and teach them how to outsource in their daily
mm,
life. So whether they're an
yeah,
entrepreneur or an executive or an entertainer, any it doesn't matter. My goal for them is to outsource because it's gonna take the stress off of them, it's gonna make things
yes.
easier. So if I'm helping my clients do that, why shouldn't I do that for myself?
I
And I
love
think
that.
delegating and hiring a team is one of those things that we can do to make our businesses run smoother, our lives less stressful, and then we'll be able to reap the benefits. And so that
Absolutely.
investment into that team, you're helping somebody else with their skill set, but you're also
Mhm.
helping your business succeed in a way that it likely could not because you can't do everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that.
Let's talk about the ebbs and flows of business and the economy. We talked a little bit about COVID and kind of the delays of maybe continuing or getting started there. But even today, for the past couple years, there's been talk of a recession. And I know we
Mhm.
all love sweets, but on the list of the budget, the sweets might be the first thing to go.
Look, ma'am, look, you were hitting the chord right there. So that could have been the whole interview right there, literally. When I tell you, during the holidays, it's amazing because people want the pecan pies, the red velvets, and the turtle brownies for Thanksgiving and Christmas. The candies you can't keep on the shelf, the fudge you can't keep on the shelf, the candy nuts, the gift baskets and boxes. But then what people don't see is you come into January with a new year. And I tell people, think of yourself, but think of everybody else almost in the world. The number one thing that people have a resolution for the new year is to go on a diet and lose weight. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I need your bags big. I need you to come and get these cookies. But, everybody is going on a diet or a lifestyle modification, which I commend them for because we need to live long lives and be healthy. So that's number one. I joke about that, but that's number one.
Yes.
Being a person who was a former diabetic, hey, I get it. I understand you have to watch what you eat. And being someone who's struggling with my weight my whole life as well, I get it. I understand. So you can't have a cookie and brownie every day. But also, with fasting, a lot of people start where with the Daniel fast. So a lot of people fasting, but businesses typically do slow down and bakeries are synonymous with slowing down during that point. But this is where I had to learn to pivot and not panic because of course I still have to run my business. I still have to pay my rent there and my utilities, but then I still have a home that I'm maintaining and, still have to pay bills here. And so it's like, if people are not buying your baked goods so much, what do you do? And so it has given me the opportunity to go back to something else that I love to do, and that is event planning. I have worked for several companies where I've had to host many events. And I was like, I think I'm pretty good at that and I like doing it. And I want to give my city something that you have to go to Atlanta or Birmingham and Huntsville to do. So here recently, I have hosted several cake decorating classes. I can decorate cakes. So if you want to come in and take a basic or intermediate class, I have started hosting cake decorating classes. So they're called Sips and Tips. And so we have a group of ladies or gentlemen or just, team building exercises. People come through and they decorate, their cakes. And it has been phenomenal. We have another upcoming event with several. I do catering as well, so I have a charcuterie master class. And it's almost sold out as well, so I will show you how to put together a charcuterie board like a pro. You don't have to pay me $500, you can do it yourself at home, and so
Yeah.
that can help you with your budget and you can learn. So come and
Uh-huh.
have fun, and you can learn as well. And then for Valentine's Day coming up, we are doing a couples chocolate dipped strawberry class, and so I will cater that. We will have a maple bourbon salmon. We would do a garlic and herb fingerling potatoes. We'll have salad. We will have asparagus because I like bacon wrapped asparagus. I think everybody else should too. So that will be our menu with the wine. But for your dessert, you and your mate will dip your own strawberries and I will teach you how to decorate them. And then you can put them in your box and take them home. So just learning how to, I don't like to say think outside the box because I believe so many people get thrown off by the box that they tether around the box. Sometimes you have to remove the box altogether
Yes.
and just, hey, create your path and go with it. So I
Mhm.
just like to push myself and push the boundaries and think of something no one is doing in my city and say, well, nobody's doing it, so you do it. And that's pretty much where I'm at. And so a lot of things that I'm doing now, I get to cook and do what I love to do, but I get to do
Mhm.
something else. I get to teach. And I've been told that was one of my strongest gifts, whether I was a teacher with Job Corps for about 13 years or in church teaching ministry. I'm a teacher. And so I get to merge those two things together. So we're actually three business, teaching and cooking. So, and it's worked well for me. So that has been what has sustained me pretty much right now.
Right. Yeah. Well, congratulations on,
Thank you.
taking
Thank
your own
you.
advice and pivoting when you need to, being innovative. What's next for you in your business?
What's next for me is I want to make sure that I have the right staff in place because we are going through a hiring process right now. So I have the right staff in place
Mhm.
because I am wanting to scale. And I know people's like, you're just not starting. This is something that has been in the works. And so when we first started the business, the game plan was to take what we've done and take it globally in effect that we started off as bread makers and we transitioned into sweets in the baker. So when you say bakery, we're really bread makers. I make homemade sourdough pretzels. And the sweets, that's what everybody wants right now. But then the pretzels are literally our number one seller. And we are the only people here that sell pretzels. And just like, whether it's a Wetzel pretzels or Auntie Anne's, we would love to see Andy Pandy pretzels at the forefront. And so my goal is to franchise out independent pretzels and be the number one official pretzel of the WNBA, the NBA, Major League Baseball, NASCAR, you name it, hockey.
Yes.
We want to have our pretzel stands all over. And so that is actually my goal and my plan. And I told my father, I said, God, I don't know how we going to do it, but you're going to do it for your girl. And
That's
so
right.
that's what I'm trusting and believing. I'm like, I don't even know if I got two set to rope together to do that, but it's coming.
It's
And so
coming.
I am intentional about, about everything that I say. And I know people, say, you shooting for the stars. I'm not shooting far enough. And I said, only thing people can tell me is no.
Mhm.
And I listen to Joel Osteen a lot, and I love Joel. And he will say something. I think one of the messages I listened to, he said, you might get 1,000 no's before you get that one yes. Well, I'll keep going until I get that yes and
Mhm.
investment that I need to do exactly what I need to do. So I know there are some venture capitalists out there, some angel investors
That's
that
right.
will see your girl and be like, we can see the vision and we,
Yes.
we, we stand behind it and let's make it happen. And so that's where I'm at. So that's for me the future. And just being able to be a household brand. And I think that's just my thing, just taking my brand to the next level.
Wow.
And that's from everything to I said, if Martha Stewart, because I love Martha Stewart can do it, I can too. I
You
said, so when
sure
you see
can.
me on some cookware set and you see me on some pot holders, you see me on some pot and soil, and you see the Ceandra James brand will be everywhere and it will have everything to do, with the kitchen. And so that is really where my focus is right now. So having my own cookware set, having my own seasoning, having my own cake box mix. I mean, everything that you can think of. And I know that people's like, okay, now you all don't play. Mm-mm. If other people can do it,
I
I
know
can
we
do it
talked
too.
about niching down and
So I'm like, let me
twisting, but
yes, but
you're gonna
that
do
is
it in a
pretty
way that
much
makes sense
that's
for your
that's where I
business.
want to
That's
be.
mhm. Yep. Yep,
So,
yep.
but I have to just a little bit at a time because I tell you, I can always sit and think of things that I would love to do and
Yeah.
want to do in life. So yes.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I hope you get all the yeses that you deserve and work for. And tell
Thank
us how
you.
we can get in contact with you, maybe order some baked goods or come and see you in person.
All right. So you can visit me in person at 546 Broad Street, and we're in Suite A, downtown Gadsden, Alabama. So if you're ever in the Alabama area, please stop by and see us. You can also visit us on our social media. We are on Facebook under the Candie Factory Bakery and Brew House, and we are on IG at the_Candie_Factory. Somebody already had the Candie Factory taken. So I, I had to put the underscores in there. But then you can also follow me on my TikTok, and I go by Chef Candy on my TikTok. I think I'm pretty funny sometimes, so you can follow me there. And then visit our website. We have not started our online ordering just yet because it has just been me. And so once we grow and expand, we will also offer online ordering and ship to all 50 states if need be, or overseas. So that is what we're working on, and that's kind of our next of where we're going to be.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see your expansion and witness the greatness that is to come for you. And
Thank
when it
you.
happens, come back and let us know about all your success and let us know how we can order from you.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. I'm so appreciative.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
And audience, until next time, be well and be balanced. Thank you for joining me this week. Let's continue the conversation on social media at 1 Minute with Monée on all channels. Also, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Until next time, be well and be balanced.